solo.
La bienvenida. Good afternoon to all and welcome again to Hablando de Cultura by Paúl and Jazz. Our guest of today was born in Westphalia, Germany. She first studied photography and afterwards decided to add a bit more to her professional career, studying foreign language correspondent for business in English and French. If she were to describe herself in one word, it would be creator. But she is much more than just that. She is a photographer, a graphic designer, a creative consultant. Actually, it's designer, a content creator, a coach, a networker, and a martial artist.
I'm going to continue from here because I hear an echo. Okay, Paul?
Okay.
Thank you. After having traveled some time, she moved to Munich in 1992, where she started her freelance business as a photographer. She worked for advertising agencies and different record companies and had shootings with musicians, comedians, and artists, mainly in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the United States. In 1998, she decides to give an added value to her work and professionalizes into graphic art design, giving her clients a more creative service. All this led to her first photo art exhibitions in 2007. She has now been living between Munich and Barcelona for quite some years, although the world is her canvas and her art is her paintings. SABINE GRUDDA, welcome, or willkommen.
Willkommen, danke. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start the first round of questions. How did it all start? Who inspired you to become a photographer?
Well, in that time, that was not the question because I left school because I knew I would not spend years of my life studying and then sitting somewhere looking at walls. So it was pretty clear in an early state that I would not finish that. So I was at the age of 18, started looking around for a place to live my creative vein, you know. I wanted to be a jewelry designer in that time, so this did not work out. So in the end, I had a contact in that time, a friend of my dad who had a photography studio. So this is actually how it happened, although I always loved photography a lot. And yeah, this is how it started. Then I did the classic way. I did my apprenticeship. I really learned from the bottom this job with everything. In that time, we were doing, you know, everything by hand. It was very analog. And yeah, and when I realized that after this, I would not earn money in this job, because in that time it was like, you know, like many jobs, you do something you love, but yeah, then you come out, you go into the market and you realize, oh, wow, it's fun, but you're not going to make a life on that. So this is the part when I started, you know, rethinking this whole thing and continued with this business languages thing, you know.
So that's what made you decide to study foreign language correspondent for business in English and French, to have sort of like an added value income.
Well, you know, in that time I was asking myself, okay, what else? I love languages, I love people, I love traveling. So that was the closest answer to my question. I was not, you know, when I was young, it was not a situation like you ask yourself, oh, what are your dreams? What will you follow? It was just, you know, for me, it was a bit of a hard way, because in that time, the society was a bit different. It was all very stiff, you know, you had to do a good job, a good this, good that. It was very cluster, you know. And so I took it step by step and went from one little step to the next. And I was carried, more or less, I was carried there, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I must imagine it wasn't very easy trying to find your own place work-wise and in this profession that even a photographer, many people may think that, well, okay, a photographer is an artist, but you know, a photographer can do so many things.
Right.
Yes and no. Because not everyone can do everything in every profession, because you may have photographers who are just, okay, excuse the term I'm going to use, they are just plain photographers that do just photos for your passport, for your ID card, like that. They are not creative photographers, right?
Exactly.
So it's not easy. And then, I mean, we have to face it. We don't live in a paired world, professional world. So usually men have it easier than us women in certain professions. And I would say that it's not different in photography than any other profession. Was it?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. Yes and no. I think when you really,
was it easy or difficult for you when you started?
No, not at all, because I was super lucky. I always knew, in that time, I always knew what I did not want. So as I said, I took step by step. And this thing with the foreign language correspondent, I did not do this as a job, because in the end, I found out, okay, it's wonderful to speak these languages, to speak French, to speak English. And this time I also started to travel, but I never wanted to do this office job. You know, when I realized, okay, this is going to end up in an office as well, I never started working in that. So after that experience, I started traveling. And after traveling, I got the chance to come to Munich. And in Munich, I got another chance because a friend had produced his first album, his first record, and asked me to do a shooting with him. He said, you're a photographer. And now we have a graphic solution, which is terrible. We had a shooting, which was terrible. And you did learn photography. Can't you do a shooting with me? And I was like, oh my God, I have to see if I still have the camera somewhere. You know, this is how it started. That was 92, actually. And so I digged for the camera. We took the camera out. Actually, there was nothing to lose because he had the record contract and time was running, you know. And under pressure, we did a shooting, and in this time, all analog. And then in the end, it was like a Bavarian rock musician. I painted these photos analog. I tanned them brown, and we presented something super fancy, crazy to the record company, and they freaked out. They loved it. So from that day on, I was hired as a photographer for record companies, and this was pure luck. And it was like I had my day honorar was like what I usually would have earned in a month. And so I got just super lucky to get my foot into this, because once you are in, you are in. And then this spread out. And as I'm a natural networker, I mean, sooner or later, you create your little community here, you have your people there, you have this, and it's organic. It's like today you grow your Instagram account. In that time, I organically grew my network. So it was like I was handed over to people like, oh, call Sabine. Oh, you need this, you need a record cover, you need a shooting, you're a musician. I worked actually more or less exclusively for the music industry. So I was handed over, and it grew by itself. It was a very, very organic process. And in 98, it was the time when, you know, everybody started having a Mac and Photoshop came, and I was like, oh, okay. In this time I was pregnant. So I was like, okay, I cannot travel all over the globe anymore. So I got myself a computer and start working on my pictures and check out this program, you know, what I can do with that, which I did. And so it was carried, you know, from step to step.
You've been working quite around the world, mainly Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the United States. Have you found any differences in work-wise between these countries?
Yes and no. America is really different because they are talking about culture. It is a different culture. I mean, not only with photography, it's like when you look at websites, they're so much more fancy, flowerish. It's such a different taste, you know, but the business is the same everywhere. Actually, it was in that time. I think I would not compare the countries to each other. I would compare that time to this time, because in that time, the business was so different, you know. It was so much money there and so many budgets, and the bosses of the record companies used to fly in with helicopters to the party of the release of the CD, you know. And it's like that time was so different from this time, but the business itself was more or less the same everywhere, I would say, because I mean, you have in these structures in the company, you have always people sitting who don't want to lose their jobs. They want to do the perfect briefing for the perfect production. They always they need to justify themselves. So in these things, no matter if you are in the States or anywhere else, you sit with people who have certain needs in such a meeting. They need to have the perfect product in the end of the day, you know. And this is pretty much the same. The Americans are a lot easier, because what I really like as a Northern German, and this again is a very cultural thing, I'm very straight. I say what I want, I say what I don't want, which is really offending sometimes for people. And the Americans are very much like this. They say, oh, no way, we don't do that. Or they would say, wow, I love it. And then they do that. You know, you don't need 20 other meetings or anything else. You know, they're very boom, bam, boom. And I really love that. So in this, America is easier in certain processes, I would say.
Out of these 4 countries that you've worked the most, which one of them would you consider, or just name them, well, numerize them from 1 to 4, which ones were those that gave you much more work?
Oh, it was, of course, mainly Germany, because my main clients were in Germany, for sure.
And after Germany?
After Germany, Austria, because the Austrians, they produce a lot of good stuff. So I had a lot of work with the Austrians. Yeah.
As we said, Paul and myself, you have quite an eclectic range of clients. They are very diverse, from advertising agencies to musicians, comedians, artists, etc. And you have also worked in so many countries. How do you feel they differ from each other, your clients, not the countries, your clients? Because obviously each one has their own needs, and it will indeed be different, a musician from a comedian or from another artist or from an advertising agency. The needs will not be the same.
Yeah, that is, I mean, this is the professional part of it, which is like, okay, in some cases you do have the chance to put your, let's see, your own agenda in. But in most cases, you are the creative executor. And for me, it does not really matter if I'm shooting, you know, for example, fashion for a car rental company, which I did a lot, or who had, you know, they had like their own, like for the flight companies, you know, the uniforms and everything. Or if you do a shooting with a musician, of course, when you do a portrait, you want to show the person. If you do a shooting for fashion, you want to show the fashion. So I am the creative service unit. I'm not Sabine GRUDDA with her taste. I am it with my brilliance, what I can give to perform the best service for my client. So, and whatever that is, I put all I have in to bring the best result. And for me, it does not make a difference what it is. I really love to work with people. This is what I really love, and what carries me through all, you know, all the list you described. This has all happened because I love people and I love to work with people. And in the end, you know, it's like you give what you can to provide the very best result for your client. And, you know, therefore, if you would add to this the question, if I'm a team worker or a lonely wolf, also this doesn't make a difference, because if I have a team to work with, I would be the perfect part to fit in where my place is, and not be, you know, I've seen so much ego everywhere. I mean, not only in my business, everywhere. People are, they putting themselves in and sometimes above the client's interest. And that's not so good, you know. I mean, this is like, okay, wonderful. So do your own thing. But if you have a client to serve, and for me, this is always and really, I don't say that. It's really not blah, blah. I really care that my client is happy, because for me, of course, we all need money and we're happy when we're paid. But for me, a job is done well when the client comes and said, you know, wow, I love this. I thank you. It went quick. It went good. The team was nice. And I really love the result. Then I'm happy, you know. And it doesn't make a difference what it is, really. For me, it doesn't. It's all, if they're happy, that's the best.
How long have you been living in Barcelona now?
Actually, it's the third year now.
Your third year, okay.
Yeah, and I love it.
How is work going along in Barcelona? Do you find it very different? Because obviously the mentality in Austria and in Germany, they are very similar, but not in Spain.
Well, I'm ashamed to say it loud. I do not work here. Because,
okay, you just
yeah,
live here.
And it's for a certain reason. It is for a very certain reason. The business is, actually here are very, very many productions. But for example, these productions many times come from Germany or other countries. They come here to produce here for a reason that is, well, a good business reason, but not a good other reason. It's cheap. And they do not fly to Cape Town, or they just rather fly to Barcelona and produce here, you know. And when I see how the salaries are here, so we open the box of the Pandora, because I am also working with agents who book models in Germany. An agent who books a model for a certain production has a briefing. In this briefing, it says, we want, for example, Paul, he's the perfect look for the guy who is tuk-tuk-tuk. We pay him 3,000 and this much for the buyout. You have the same job in Spain, he would get 300. This is why I don't work in Spain. It's like, for me, it's, you know, it's a difficult subject. It's a difficult subject, you know.
Okay, well, it's different.
It's a little bit like a joke. I put the sound because I wanted to say that, because it's like this. It's like when she listened the works about in the modeling, what happened, and say, but look the buyouts in this same production, but from other actors, other models from Germany or Austria or somewhere over there. It's like, what? And she's,
It's a zero more.
I don't want this, and you don't want this. So it's about the value here is, or you talking for yourself value. Because in coins and money,
of course it's different, but then again, it's not only different, but it's the own productions, foreign international productions that come to Spain to shoot because it's cheaper, and it's not a matter of fact of cheaper because you pay less taxes. No, it's cheaper because the people are cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They hire a model here for 300, which they would hire, and I'm not lying, I have seen these briefings, for 3,000 in Germany, a zero more. Yeah. I mean, it's not 300, 600, it's 300, 3,000. This is really heavy. It's heavy.
No, it's heavy.
And yeah, a brilliant photographers here in Spain. I talked to some, they work for so little money that I think, like, okay, I really work a lot. I work a lot because, first of all, I really love what I do, and you never stop. When you're freelance and you are creative, you work. I mean, your clients need things like yesterday evening. So there is no weekend. There is no night shift. There is no, we close the doors at this clock. No, we don't do that. But I find it hard how little money is paid here for good work, you know. This is so, I mean, of course, for me, it's like, if I never would have seen something else, and I would not be in the position I am. I mean, I'm for so many decades in this business, it's a different situation. If somebody is starting now here to do freelance work, of course you adapt to the system where you are. Of course,
yeah,
naturally.
But you said that many productions and many projects come to Spain from Germany, from Austria, from Switzerland, because it's cheaper here. Have you ever been offered to work with these projects here in Barcelona?
No. I do have clients who have their offices, for example, in London or somewhere else, and who outsource the jobs in their European subsidiaries. I have that situation that I work with clients who have their main office in, I don't know, in London or in Belgium or, you know, somewhere else, and hire me for a job that needs to be done in Germany, but not from Germany here. No, not yet. No.
Okay. What do you think should be done to change this?
I think there cannot be done something that you have like a recipe like this, you know. I think, well, the difficult part is, if you are a model and you are in, for example, one of these castings, there are 150 other models. Everybody wants the job. You would not go and say, oh, this is not fair, I don't participate. Nobody would, because they all want the job. They all look amazing. They're beautiful. They're talented. They think, oh, maybe this is the job that makes my career. And it's possible. And so now nobody would get up and say, okay, you know what, guys, let's stand together and say, oh, this is just not fair. You know, it cannot be that you do a production, and this is a real case. You cannot have a production where you are front in TV in Spain in a spot and you get a 100 euros and a 400 for a buyout TV 1 year. No. So I think people should stand up and say, no, this is not fair. We don't do that anymore. But this is not my business. This is not my, you know, I'm not an agent. I'm not an agent.
I just wanted to know what your thoughts were. But to inform you, there is an association for agents here in Spain who receive the castings, and when there are castings, there are underscore, they talk between themselves in a group that they have, a WhatsApp group, and they either request that the briefing needs to be changed, or no actor, no model of their agency does the casting.
That's beautiful.
We have that.
I think that's great. That's great.
It's
That's a great step in the right direction.
Obviously, some actors or some models, they can be contacted directly, but others are not. And it is those who do have an agent or a manager, it's the manager or the agent's job to supervise this, not the model, not the actor.
Yeah, but many of them don't have really agencies. They sign up in every agency, which is also a weird thing. I don't know that, because in the end, the agents.
But if they do have, they have a couple of agencies. What the actor or the model needs to do once they are contacted direct, because obviously, I mean, not all production companies work in a clear white way. They tend to go behind, and they are contacted, directed by these production companies. And the first thing that these professionals need to do is say, okay, thank you for contacting me. Please contact my agent.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's it. And forget about it.
But you know, the thing is, we speak on this professional level. If you think a young girl or boy comes and wants to be a model, they don't know anything about the business, you know. They just see, okay, where are the model agencies? Who is taking me? They are even happy to being taken, you know, because they don't think that way, that the agency is working for them. They have the feeling they are like, oh, thank you, the agency took me. They are beautiful. They are the money. They are the product, you know. And I think it's like, it's something that should be really changed in, that should be something that should be more widespread, that they know how this could be done in a good way.
True. That is true, but there is also another point that many artists, being models, actors, photographers, painters, singers, sculptors, writers, poets, everything that you can imagine in this wonderful ball of culture.
Yeah,
they have to understand that it's a matter of teamwork.
Exactly, especially now. Yeah,
the artists are one, and they are supposed to be one. There's no such thing that I go and I do my stuff and then, well, I'll just tell my agent later. No, because if there's a big problem, the only person who will get you out of that problem is your agent.
It's the agent, right? Yeah.
No one else, just the agent. So I say this to the young people who are starting, or even those who are not that young, but they're starting either in acting or they're starting in modeling. I always say the same thing. First of all, nothing comes for free. Nothing. Nothing in life comes for free. If someone says from the very beginning, oh my God, you're going to have so much work, he or she is lying. It's not true. Not because you're not worth it. It's because there are so many people who have your same profile. So it's not going to be that easy. So all these things need to be taught. I can understand that people need to eat and they need to live, but you have to do it in a correct way and not lying, not telling stories that building castles when there is no such thing as those castles, etc., etc. And this is for everyone, not only the ones who start, also the ones who've been there for quite a bit of time and have not worked in a bit of time. And obviously I can understand that it is exasperating that you're waiting for an audition and it doesn't come, or you do so many castings and they don't take you, they take someone else. I can understand all that. I go through that too.
Yeah, but you know, people should understand that it's not personal. It's like the client has a certain profile he wants, and maybe you are just not blonde enough, or not the hair has the long, not the right size or look, or it's not about you as a person. You are a product in this case, you know. And this is the thing. It's hard to not take it personal. I would say, you know, it's really hard.
That's it. That's it. But unfortunately, like I say, there are. There are a lot of lions dressed as lambs.
Totally.
And you have to be very, very careful with all this, especially the young boys and girls who start. And I understand that when someone comes and says, oh, wow, oh my God, you are the best thing I've seen and this and that. Okay. Like I say, the only person I believe all that from is my mother. And unfortunately, my mom died about 16 years ago. So I don't believe that from anyone else.
Yeah. No, it can be that, you know, it can happen that you find a mentor, you find somebody who sees something in you. And in the end, I think when we are here at this point to giving a little bit of advice to people who start or who are young and who want to go into this really heavy business, it is a heavy business because it becomes very personal, although it's not. And this is something you have to be able to carry. And people who are artistic and who have this sensitivity and who want to go out there, most of the time, they are exactly the people who are suffering from taking it personal, you know, because they think I'm not good enough, or, oh my God, what did I do? What does this person have that I don't have? It's totally not about this, you know. But on the other hand, with everything you do and how you do it, you take a decision for your life. And this is something when you are younger, or when you start and you think you're depending on everybody and you just need to do everything and accept everything to make your way, you are not aware of the fact that with each yes or no you say, you decide where the molecules of your future flow. That means in one moment, you take one decision, you accept shit, you feel bad about it, and you think you have to do this. You took a terrible decision just because you thought you have to. So what is going to happen? You decide, okay, I do this. I don't feel good. The people are weird, but yeah, probably I want to work in this business. So I say, yes, I do that because all these other people did terrible things too. So probably it will be good for something. You do it. First of all, you choose to be in a level you don't want to be. Second of all, you choose to be with people who do not make you feel good. Third of all, you do not get paid. You feel you are not worth it. So there's only shit coming out of it. So if I would give an advice to people, listen to yourself how it feels. And even if there is 3 months no job and that there comes one that feels shit and you don't want to do it and you just think you have to, don't fucking do it. It's really not good. Wait, stay truthful to yourself. Say, okay, this is what I want. It does not mean, oh, I only take jobs when they are paid like 5,000 a day. No, of course, I do not talk about that. I talk about really feeling good and having a feeling this is something that is worth it. I would even do it for free, but it feels good. It's great people. It's a good project. It's not about the money. It's about taking decisions where you want to go, because this is a path. It's a path. And you go baby step by baby step, you decide where you want to go. And in the moment you accept shit, I mean, we all accepted shit in our life, of course, but in the moment you do that, you get a book. You know, in the long list of my descriptions, I'm a martial artist. That means I practice martial arts all my life. And martial arts is about energy. It's not about fighting. It's about how to deal with energy. And if there is one thing I can tell you or everybody, whatever situation in life, everything, photography, each business talk you have, each job you do, it's all how you play with the energy, how sender, receiver, sender, receiver. When I'm a good photographer, I manage to catch the person's soul. It's not a beautiful outside. I don't go there and say, oh, which is the nicest angle? Oh, here is the good side. Or here you have, part is nice in you. I connect to the person and I see, where are you? Where are you? You know, it's like,
so American Indians were right about photographers. American Indians would say they didn't want photographers because in the Western time, because they thought that they would capture their souls in the photography. That's why they didn't want anyone to make photos of them. See, you're right.
It's like this, you know, in the end, it's all about energy. And if we talk about, you know, starting your path as whatever, as an artist, as a model, as a writer, poet, photographer, it doesn't matter. In the end, it's all about energy. You have to feel good with, you know, with your work. You have to connect. And now more than ever, everything is about connections, you know. About the 90s, when I started, it was like everybody was a lonely wolf. There was a lot of ego, a lot of competition. Everybody wanted to be this or that. Also, Munich, the city that I lived in for almost 30 years, is about showing something, you know. It's like you build something. It's like there is so much fake in all this, you know. And I really wish so much that people understand that it doesn't matter how old you are. It's about energy. How do you want to wake up? How do you want to feel? How do you want to look at yourself in the mirror? Which people do you want to have around you? You know, which energy do you want to have around you when you wake up, when you go to work? What do you want in your life? It goes quickly, you know. We should decide every day to just create ourselves the perfect environment, you know, and not say, well, it's like this and it's like this. Well, yeah, it is like this, but it's up to you to decide, is this what I want? Or do I want something else? Or do I want this different? Can I try to, you know, can I try to make it different? Or do I just need to go somewhere else? It's...
At this time of your life, are you where you wanted to be?
Yeah, totally, because I never planned to be anywhere. So this is exactly where I wanted to be, because it took me here. And I always took, you know, very honest and sometimes also very, very encouraged decisions when it came to things that I want and don't want. And they initiated the automatic next steps. I mean, everything I never wanted is a predictable future. So I'm very much living in the here and now. And you know, it's like, I think we develop, and with each level we reach, you have a new understanding, you have new insights, you have new desires, new needs, you know yourself better, or maybe some things become more clear that you didn't see before. So how can you know this 12 years before? You cannot. I mean, you can know how you want to live, and you can move into this direction, but you cannot predict, oh, I want this, you know. And for me, it's like, I never was like saying, oh, I want to have this big house or this kind of car or this. For me, it's more, I want to wake up with this feeling. I want to have such people around me. I want to, you know, it's more about the feeling rather than I need to have this house or this or that, you know. It's not defined. And whenever you know, I always jumped before I knew there was water in the pool. Let's put it this way, you know. And after my experience, it's like many people don't jump. They look, is there water in the pool? How deep is the water? Can I jump? Might I get hurt? How will it be? Or maybe I better don't. I don't care. I jump. So people with a good no. People with a good consciousness would say, oh, this woman is really crazy because she might one day jump into something where there is water. And I tell you, I did. And because of my decision to jump and to not look, I created water. And this is the difference. When you believe, you trust, you are safe. Yeah, maybe from 10 times, 3 times I jumped and there was really no water. And if I would have looked, I would have crashed my nose, but I didn't look. I just believed there will be enough water for a soft landing. Otherwise, I would not have had the impulse to jump. So
True.
there was water. And, you know, and this is like, okay, I know it's not for everybody maybe, but that's why I'm here. And when you ask me if I'm happy to be here, yes, I'm happy. I jumped here.
May I say something? May I say something? Wait, I want you ask and say thank you everybody. Gracias a todos a quienes se han ido conectando, 6 personas. Pues bueno, hola y muchísimas gracias para quienes van comentando. Una cosa, one thing. How you see the video? It's okay, everything, because mine is sharpening sometimes. The imagine. It's like,
no, Sabine's image is a bit
like
blurry.
Boring,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
What
Yeah,
can I
because
do?
it's sometimes gone. But
Yeah.
anyway, we have the information. You look beautiful. One other thing. I am quiet. Why? Because the interview is for my wife, my beautiful woman. It's her, and we are here. Hola. It's literally there. Then, okay, for not make the sounds like this and just make me the favor this time. This is the colleague now for the interview, and she'll make the interview. This is why I am listening. And if I have something to say, I will just make like this. Okay, that's all.
Yeah. So as Paul was saying, in case some of you may have not understood him, effectively, Sabine GRUDDA is Paul's wife, and he gently asked me to do the interview because he felt more comfortable. They both felt more comfortable that I do the interview and I ask the questions. Well, I mean, I would have, if he would have been my husband, I wouldn't have minded for him to tell me, I don't care. I mean, it's just.
But he knows me so well.
No, but it's about me. So you should think it's about me. So I don't care who he is. He's not my husband now. He's just there asking.
Who he is.
Oh, who cares? He's just there asking questions. He's not my husband. He's my husband afterwards, not in this moment. But for me, it's a great pleasure and an honor to be able to do the whole interview by myself, just having him there, looking at me and listening. That's great. By the way, guys, as she said, she doesn't work in projects. We're talking about big projects here in Barcelona. But if you do need any headshots, whether you're actors or singers or models, and you need to renew your headshots, she is an excellent and wonderful photographer. You'll have all the details down there. You can contact her. You can see all her stuff in her Instagram. Okay, her model number.
It's not my professional. No, you cannot, because it's not professional Instagram.
We do know that, as you see, her husband, well, he is one of her guinea pigs, but he's a really good guinea pig. Come out very, very good of Paúl. So if you guys ever need any photo shooting in Barcelona, she's available. Obviously, she's available according to her agenda. You have to contact her. Now, let me continue with you. What famous photographers do you admire? And what you're going to say is going to be okay with me because I don't know. I don't know famous photographers.
Well,
so what? Andy Warhol is the only one I comes to my mind. That's it.
Well, there are, of course, so many that it's hard to name them. But if you were referring to the time when I started with photography, because in this time you get really inspired by people who did amazing work. For sure, it's all the Magnum photographers. I mean, Henri Cartier-Bresson, when he founded all this, the street photography, I totally love. My very, very famous not so famous photographer in that time was Jean Loupsieff, who did amazing black and white photography, amazing. I loved Sarah Moon. She inspired me a lot. I really loved her work. She's not too... she is famous, but it's not the names that you usually hear, but these are the people that really inspired me. And actually, it was not only related to photography. I loved Karl Lagerfeld. I loved him. He's one of the most creative person that ever walked this planet in my eyes, and was not only photography, he was just such a creative mind. I totally admired his work, all of it. I mean, just the way he did it, and all this creative output, and his view on things, you know, like, just, there are so many inspiring people out there. It's hard to name a list. In Germany, in this time when I started, was Jim Rakete, who was actually a real famous photographer in the music industry. Amazing. Just amazing. Richard Avedon, I admire. There are really so many great ones.
You have, as I said previously, you have done in the past art photo exhibitions in Germany. Have you ever thought of doing any art exhibition in Barcelona?
Thought of, yes, but not done yet. For two reasons. If you ask me for the reasons,
actual reasons.
When you do photography and you do all these enlargements to really make it nice exhibitions, it's a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of organization. And the exhibitions I did, I never went into galleries. I just started my own thing, connecting it to a charity or something, and doing a pop-up event. So actually, I did a few things, and I did pop-up events, and, you know, hanging my art and inviting other artists too, in some cases, and then just, you know, do like one big event, and that's it. Not like, I've never been in a gallery or something like that.
Okay. Well, if whenever you do your pop art event, just, you know, let everyone else know, so we can go there and see them. I think your husband wants to say something. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, I just want to say I don't listen to what, because I have the comments. One question. One say they say they love your work, and how you catch in the photo everything. No words for your photography. They really like it.
Thank you.
And my son is our our first fan. To say, Sabine, estás guapísima. That's all.
Thank you.
Great. That's great. Okay, so let's continue. As I said previously, you are not only a photographer. Well, I didn't say it. Sorry. Paul said it. As Paul said previously, you are a photographer, a graphic designer, a creative consultant, a content creator, a coach, a networker, and a martial artist. Which of these, and don't say all of them, which of these is your favorite and why?
Well, you will not like my answer, because it is all of them. This is why I do it all. And actually, it's not all at the same time. No, there's one thing. There's one thing they all have in common. And this one thing is, I love to work with people. And I really love energy. You know, I love to exchange energy. And it does not matter if I do have a photo session, or if I have a coaching, or if I'm creating a content for somebody, or if I am in a sparring with somebody. It's, you know, in the end, or dancing. I love dancing. We forgot dancing in the list. It's like, it's this thing about, you know, like the exchange of energy. I just love to work with people, or to be with people, or to have this process, you know. And for me, I'm also doing jewelry, or I'm building furniture. I just love to create. I love to create. And it doesn't matter what it is. You know, sometimes I sit down and do some whatever, some jewelry. And the other day I feel I want to retouch a photo in some crazy way. It's, for me, it is not really dividable. I could not say, oh, what I love most is this. It's also, you know, on some days you really, you have some insight, and you are, you know, you just understood something and it made click. And then you do have a talk with somebody or a coaching, and you just can, you know, go into something. it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like you're growing with this, and it's super satisfying. And on another day, you just want to create something. You want to hold something in your hands that you did with your own work, you know. It's like, it's for me, it's really hard to say, oh, I love most this, or I love most that. It's really difficult.
Okay. As a photographer, creator, do you find it difficult to be impartial with your husband when you take photos of him? Not see him as who he is for you, but him as a person, an actor, a model. He's just a person. I mean, there's no how you call it, intimate feeling that's in between, because I am the photographer and he is just okay.
It's the other way around. If you put it like this, all people I photograph are my husbands or wives. It's like, I do interact. It is an intimate process. It cannot be without. For me, not. It cannot be without. And intimate, I mean, not getting undressed. And I mean, intimate, you diving into each other's energy. Otherwise, you do not get magic results. So if I would take photos of you, I would not just stand in front of you, chick, chick, chick. It's work. We would sweat. We would say, okay, Jasmine, do this. Oh my God, I see something. Jump up here or go here. You know, it's like, it's so, it's a process, you know. It's interaction.
I don't have to take my clothes off, right? Because they're sweating and all that.
No, I mean, it's really a process. You work together, you exchange energies. It's like you have to somehow get into this flow, you know, like when you dance with somebody, if the one person is like this and the other is you know, it's not working. You have to somehow feel, okay, who is this? Who is this person? Who is like, you never stay out, you know. I mean, it's
I understand.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been a long time. I don't dance because my husband doesn't know how to dance, so I don't dance anymore. So, my husband has 2 left feet, so what's the use of dancing then? I do agree with you, but sometimes I think that maybe too much empathy does not make you see the reality in the person.
No, actually, empathy always makes you see your reality. This is the point. I mean, it's a little bit a philosophical thing, because reality itself is different for everybody. So what is your reality is something else than my reality or the next person's reality. So what you do in a creative process is you melting something, you know, and in the end is a little bit like cooking a dish. You if you do it creatively and you do not measure the things, you don't know what's coming out, you know. Everybody is adding something and it's like, oh, maybe a little honey is great, or maybe let's put some nuts, or you know, it's like, and in the end you have a great dish that you probably will never ever be able to cook again. But it's like, it's a process, you know. And it's like, I think being empathic initiates a process of creativity. Let's put it this way. And when you have some ideas and you say, wow, you come to a photo shooting to me, let's just put it this way. And you say, you know, I have these looks. I have always been in front of my mirror testing this look. I always wanted to have it in a photo. You would bring this. And I would, when you put this on, see something, feel something, and say, wow, there is something behind this. And we would start to have a creative process on that and say, you know what, Jasmine, I just have this idea, put it like this, or put it, oh wait, I have this thing, let me put it on. And like, you know, it's like, it's of course it's empathic, because in the moment we start working together, in the moment I start photographing you and you had this idea of putting this, there is a story behind that. There is a reality behind that, because you probably like yourself when you see you with this outfit. Otherwise you would not choose that. You would come to me, I would feel something when I'm empathic. I would feel, wow, this is Jasmine. This is one side of Jasmine. I have had photo shootings with singers. She came back to me, she said, you know what, I was crying when I saw that. That was Lisa when she was 4. That was Lisa when she was 7. That was Lisa when she was a teenager. And I showed that to my mother, and she was, you know, like, so you capture personalities, you capture faces, moments in life, energies. It's energies. It is working with energies. And you have to be empathic and professional. You have to give commands like a general, otherwise you will not get anywhere. I will tell you, oh, do this, put your hand here, turn your head, do like this, because I feel you. I feel what is necessary in that moment to create what I want, what I want to get out of this.
For you, it's easier because, well, I mean, you're German. You have a German mind. It's a straight mind. And that's it. There's no going this way or going that way. This is the way it goes, and that's it. I'm still in the phase of understanding myself because I've had a fight with photographers. No, I don't like this photograph of myself. And then ask other people, out of these, which ones you prefer? And they would say the same, the photographer. So I'd say, okay, then it's me. I don't like myself. So I've just come to the point that when the photographer says, no, these are the photos that are the best of you, I say, okay, and I just use them. I don't look at them very often, and that's it, because this comes just like with the voice when you sing.
But I would not agree to that. This is not a good job then. Sorry to say that. If you have a good photo session, you do have a photo that you would love to have that size on your wall, and each morning you get up, you walk to this photo, and when you have a bad day, you would go and say, oh wow, babe, you're great, then you have a good photo of yours. And this should be
for me
the result.
Oh no. It would be the thing that I would do is to have a photograph of myself this big in my house. Oh my God, I wouldn't be able to. Oh no, not definitely no, absolutely not. I mean, there are in my home. There are a lot of photos of my kids, my husband, and friends, and my family. Ever since I was a child, they would run after me to take a photo of me, and I would run. I never liked photographs. So I just
ever ask yourself why?
But my problem is that when I look at myself in the mirror, the person I see, I have the same problem with my voice. When I sing, I hear, if I sing in a karaoke, if I don't sing in a karaoke, I sing now. I say, oh, you have a nice voice. But then when I sing in a karaoke, I say, is that my voice? Everyone.
Yeah, but everybody has that, doesn't it? That's normal. That's normal. That's human. We all have our issues.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
People say that, and we don't have voice for that, and we think we sing amazing. Everybody says,
yeah, I thought, oh wow, I have an amazing voice. And when I first heard myself in a karaoke, and everyone was just looking at me, I was like, oh my God, are they looking at me because I sing well? And my cousin would say, no, just listen to your voice. And say, what? That's me?
Yeah, but it's natural. It's when you hear yourself, you have the whole sonoric experience, and when you hear you're somewhere on tape, it's something.
Oh, never again. I go to karaoke just to have fun, but not to say, okay, guys, I'm going to sing. Oh no, I don't sing. I just put words into a little bit of music. That's what I do. I don't sing. I just put words. That is great. So I assume that the pandemic has affected everyone, and it has also affected you. I mean, you wouldn't be different from anyone else. How has this been affecting you? Did you have to put on standby many projects?
Yes.
Can you still go to Germany and work?
Well, I had to put stand by many projects because I do a lot with people who do events or trade fairs, or who are, somehow into this thing where they need my creative work being part of it, and many events have been canceled due to Corona from like this. Even projects that were almost finished got canceled. Of course, that is super hard, And on the other side, there is an effect that made me really smile, because due to the fact that people were sitting at home, everybody was forced to somehow see what to do. People were bored to death. They were not used to spend time with their families, and okay, after they knew their family, they had to think like, okay, how do I spend my day? I'm locked down here. I mean, it's like, okay, what do we do? So everybody has the one or the other project in the drawer was like, okay, one day, or when I'm retired, or maybe then, or then, or then. So what happened to me is people started doing projects and called me up and said, I was thinking now is a great time. Anyway, there's nothing to lose, so I can try. Could you? And I was like, hey, wow, this is amazing. Now everybody, for the first time, because there is really no way out, no distraction around, no chance to do anything else. They start really doing the things they wanted to do for a long time. And sometimes these are really amazing projects, and even business ideas or whatever, it's like, I think this is super positive, because they would probably never have dared to really get on the street with this without Corona. So like always, there's a black and a white. Life is duality. Yeah, always, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that the biggest project that we all have had to live during the confinement was getting to know your family. There have been many people too. It has been hard, because I recognize it has been hard. It has been hard on us. It has been hard on many people. I mean, it's really. The good thing out of all this is that some of us have overcome this, others haven't, because we all have changed. I mean, it's not the same that you live with your family some hours of the day because you are busy working or doing some things out of home. No. But when you're at home every day, 24/7 for 3 months, it's like living in a fucking desert alone with those people, or an island. And it has been a bit difficult at times, trying to, how would I say, respect each other's space, respect each other's needs, and trying to understand and being very empathic with all the situation and all of us. And I think that's one of the major projects that us humans had to deal with, and still have to deal with this. It's not easy. It's quite difficult. And there again, you do have different types of people. You have people who, like you said, well, yeah, I remember I had a project that, maybe I wanted to finish or start or whatever, when I retired. Well, how about if I do it now? But there are some other people who will just sit moaning every day, and you are trying to be creative and trying to have your creative moment, or to keep yourself mindly busy. And you have this person moaning around the house all day long, that at the end you say, hey, why don't you try suicide? It might help everyone. But, it's just, it's just an idea, right?
Are you German? This is very strange.
If you don't want to cook, well, you can try suicide. I don't know, do something. I don't know.
No, it is polarizing. I'm totally with you.
But there are people that have been, and from here, I would like to bring a thumbs up to everyone, every human being on earth that has been going through all these bad moments. You are not alone. We have all been through that. The biggest, the best, the fashions, the VIPs, everyone has gone through this confinement. Everyone has had to live the 24/7 with everyone at home and try to adapt to the situation. So, I mean, it's something that had to be in. And it's a part of our life, and well, we made it.
It is polarizing, it's polarizing, because I think some are hit harder than others, and of course everybody is hit financially. It's very, very difficult, especially with the situation that will be now when everything starts really breaking down. We don't need to talk about that, what is coming, but I think what everybody can do for himself or herself, don't go to the frequency of fear. This is something, I so much understand that people are doing bad, that they are afraid of their future. I am, of course. I mean, we all, but I'm used to it. I'm dealing with the fear of existence for the last 30 years. So I'm more or less used to it, but it's always super hard, and it can take you down and make you really depressive and afraid. But as soon as we are on this low frequency of fear, we get sick, we get depressive.
Yes.
We can be influenced, we can be manipulated, we can be taken down. We should just try, even if it's hard, or especially when it's hard, to not go to low frequency. Don't hate, don't fear. Just, I mean, it's easy to say because this fear is real. It's very real. And it's, I understand when people say, nice, don't go to fear. What do? I lose my job. I cannot pay my apartment. I have nothing to eat. Yes, of course. But you have the situation, either with fear or without. With
True.
fear, you have no chance. Without, if you grab it and you try to rise yourself, at least you have the chance to take yourself out there and to get help, because whatever gets attention grows. So if you put more attention to shit, you will for 100% sure attract more shit. When you are in the shit already and you put your attention, you really try and you do it with force, put your attention to some whatever perspective positive, you will attract that where your attention goes. And this is a natural law. It's not blah, blah. It's just working as much as the rain comes down and the sun is rising, It is natural law. Wherever the attention goes, that grows. So now fear. Wow, this is the pandemic. This is
true. And I always say that whatever you give, you get back. If you give bad things, you get back bad things.
Because it's resonance.
Yeah. The problem is that I thought that this situation that we are living worldwide would make us come back to being humans that we were once.
Yeah.
And no, it's not changing that much. It has only changed for instance, in the confinement, right? A very specific situation. But once the confinement ended after 3 months and we were able to go out and be able to go have a coffee or go to the supermarket, this and that, just move a little bit, everyone got back to me. That's a big problem, because society is made of people. It's not made of one individual.
But the other thing is happening too. Yeah.
So we have to go back to that. We have to go back to trying to understand that this person that you go by in the street when you're walking and is asking for money, and we do not have the homeless, the dirty homeless that is pushing his cart. You don't see that anymore. You see people who are dressed, who are clean, and who are asking for money because they need to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there are many companies who have closed because of the pandemic, and they lost their jobs and have no right whatsoever for unemployment or whatever. They have families to take care of. The other day I met this lad. He's 24 years old. He came here because it was going to be the recollection of the tangerines, and all of a sudden when he comes here, they say, no, we're not going to be able to take them out yet because they are not mature. So he doesn't have money. He can't go back because Tarragona and Tortosa are closed, so he can't go back. He is living in how you call this, a warehouse that a friend let him sleep there on the couch, and he has nothing to eat. I met this lad because I went to do some paperwork, and I asked him, have you had breakfast? And he said, no. I said, well, come with me and we'll have breakfast together.
You're sweet.
We had breakfast, and he started telling me how it went. I always say, yes, maybe you might have a person that you give them €1 or you give them €2 and they're going to buy wine. But I always say, every person who is outside asking for help, asking for money to eat or whatever, that person had a life, a nice life like we had once. You don't know what took that person to be in that situation now.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Exactly.
person is how you say it? Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes, I mean, this happens to people who speak many languages. You forget words. How you say it? ¿Cómo se dice se merece?
Deserve.
Are worthy of respect.
They deserve.
Yeah, they deserve, and they are worthy of respect because they are people, they are persons, and they are humans. This is what makes them worthy. First of all, because they are human beings, and they are worthy of being respected. You don't know what happened in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So who are we to criticize or just judge anyone? I don't know.
Yeah, but this is, this is like really, I have heard people talking a lot about this new world order. And if something new is born, the old has to die first. And it's always a very harsh process. And this is what we are actually literally going through, I mean, there is really a big destruction going on, and of course it's polarizing. I mean, I see people going either here or there's not much in between. I mean, you find it with your friends and even with people close to you, that you have like two how do you say, like two corners. The one go here, the others go there, and there's nobody in the room in the middle. This is like either here or there. It's a super heavy left or right. And this is a time, I think, it also, there's a huge chance, because of course these times there's nothing to lose, so you really start moving, because we are so much in our comfort zones. We need, it sounds terrible, but we need a catastrophe to to do this and to wake up and to really move our body, and change something, because otherwise you would say, maybe next year, or if this, or maybe babu. It's like this, you need to be really punched in the face to finally say, oh wow, now.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree. What's next for you? What do you have, any new projects apart from those who are in standby?
Yes, you were, without knowing, you were guiding me there, because the next projects do have to do with charity and community. And as I said before, this lonesome wolf thing is definitely totally not working anymore. We have to unite and do really form communities, strong communities. And one of my next thing is a charity, putting my force into a charity, moving things in a good way with people, also with art. Art, it's growing. It's like it's in the baby shoes, but my next projects will be very different from what was until now, because there needs to be something done for for the environment, for humanity. It sounds big, but everybody can do a little bit in his or her.
It starts with a little bit, and it grows. But do you think that here in Spain we are less charitable?
What do you mean?
Do you think that here in Spain, the culture, Spanish culture, Spanish mentality, that we are less charitable than, for instance, in France or in the UK or in the United States? In the United States, in the UK, they do a lot of things with charity. But here in Spain, well,
I think charity can be anything. It does not necessarily need to be, I mean, what I used to know a lot in Munich were charity dinners, charity events. It was always red carpet, thousands of euros of production costs. I'm not talking about this, I'm really talking about, let's get the right people together. Let's collect brilliant ideas. Let's see who can participate in which way. For example, the artists, they have a lot of expensively produced pictures in the corners, why not putting it in an auction and donating the money, and with one other part of the money doing something for the artists, for example. And if many people come together, you can start collecting ideas how everybody can benefit. It's not that difficult to create win-win situations for everybody. You just have to sit down and think and put people together, and it will naturally flow, but this should be the new way of creating whatever, and I mean, anyway, the business is totally screaming for sustainability everywhere. I don't know, here in Spain, I don't know so much, but in Germany, sustainable is the tomorrow, I mean, nobody wants plastic anymore. Nobody wants microplastic in the shampoo or in the dishwashing liquids, or we do not want to take this any further, what we did already to our planet. This comes to an end now, and this is beautiful, and I think there should be a lot more of that people sit down together and think, hey, what can we do from now? I mean, not like whatever far away day, like, okay, who has what can we throw in? And this is what I experienced, especially in this time, talking again about resonance and attraction. These people come together. It is like, I have a feeling, the people I'm having in my field or in my environment now, which are also new people, some of them, it's like everybody collected something and it's going like this. And you're like, wow, it matches, like everybody is bringing something in. And then when you're together, you create something that has a momentum already, which attracts more of these people, more of this energy, more of these projects, more of these ideas, and it starts moving.
Yeah.
Sorry. And this is what I think, it does not necessarily need a big invest or people who have certain skills. It just needs a little spark of inspiration, or just go and do something. Can be very little ones, it's like, it does not need to be a major project with a huge invest or something. This is where I'm heading, like, I think we have to stay very curious always, and this is probably one thing that helped me a lot through my life. I was always curious like a kid, taking everything in that was coming there. And for me now, it's a little bit, I mean, it sounds very terrible, but it's a little bit like Christmas, because so many new possibilities are there now. Through a catastrophe, which is terrible, but it's a little bit like everything is wiped and you have a blank page and you can say, okay, so it doesn't matter. Let's just create something new, And now we have the freedom and the possibilities. So who cares? Anyway, we don't make money. So let's invest our time and our spirit into something good,
No, I agree with you, and I do consider that it is the time that we unite to create something. Because if we just keep on giving the message, go ahead and create something, that's not going to work. It's let's unite, let's get together, and let's create something. Because where I cannot get to, you can get from there. And it's always meeting us halfway, and I bring in this, and then maybe I bring it up to a certain level, and I don't know what to do with it anymore. And then all of a sudden you come out and you say, oh, hey, wait, hold on, I'll take over and I'll continue doing this. And it's just like it's kind of like this game that you run, and then you have your pair, and you hand him the ball so he can keep on running. This is the same thing. And now is the moment to, like you said, even if it's not for charity, just for people who have nothing to take to their mouths or to give to their children to eat, but even for those artists that need to have, because for instance, here in Spain, I don't know how it works in Germany, but here in Spain, us artists in general, actors, whatever, artists in culture, firstly, there is not that much money invested in culture unfortunately, in this country. So there-wise, we do not have, we don't have sort of like a SAG-AFTRA union thing that specializes in artists. So we don't have sort of like, how would I say, sort of like this union that even if you have to pay every month or every year, whatever, but that when time comes that you have no work and you have nothing to live off because this is your day job, you have this sort of like help, unemployment help for artists that they will pay you at least something that, okay, it might not pay you enough to pay your rent and eat, but it will pay you to eat. Because obviously in a situation as we are now, the last thing that we have to worry about is rent. We have to worry about eating. This is the first thing, is eating. You have to eat. You have to have water and you have to have electricity. And you have to eat. Those are the three. And then rent comes afterwards. I'm very sorry for those people who have all these buildings and all these apartments that they rent out. I'm very sorry. But if you have all this that you rent out, it's because you have money and you can live without getting this rent. I do understand that there are some people that they live off that rent. I can understand that too. And those are, to tell you the truth, those are the people who during this time, since the pandemic started here in Spain, for instance, those are the people who have gone to their how you call them? Oh my God, I can't remember how you call them. The people who they rent the place to.
Yeah.
And they tell them, don't worry. We will wait for the rent. Don't worry. You just use that money to eat and to feed your children. But who says this? Those that need that money to live, not the rich people who have a few houses or whatever. No, it's the one. But this has always been this way. When you give in Christmas, you give this huge party shout out. Let's help families in need. Who do you think helps out with the money?
Yeah.
Medium to low society people, not the high ones that have money.
Yeah.
No,
there are good ones everywhere. You know, I would not judge it all over one level.
Obviously.
But there are actually, I know many people with a lot of money who do actually a lot of good things. But but you're right. In general, it's like this. It needs to be an eye by eye help. You know.
Yeah. Because I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, just the thought of thinking that in my case, I mean, I'm an adult. My son is an adult. My husband is an adult. My daughter, she has her own job, and she has her husband and her daughter. They're taken care of. But for me, just to think that there are families who do not have milk to give to their children, I just find it so heartbreaking that this is not taken care of. I just don't understand it. And when people say, "Oh yeah, but this is the government's fault," no, it's your fault also, because you look away.
Yeah, but you know, people are learning now. We are having a situation that we never ever had. We are born after the war. I mean, we have not been in any need in our lives, and for everybody, it's new. We had everything. All our lives, we had enough food, we had houses, we had cars, we had parents who cared, you know, we always had everything we needed. We had education, everything was provided. And for the first time here in the last 70 years in the Western world, or 60 years, we are shaken by a threat that other people not too far away from us have every day already for a long time. You know? Now the Europeans are like, all
of a sudden, now
maybe I don't have enough toilet paper for next week. You know, I think this is really interesting.
Don't talk about toilet paper. I mean, I to today, I still don't understand what happened to the toilet paper in Spain. I don't understand this.
The Germans are worse than that, you know. They have probably
this, because I'm curious to understand what happened to the toilet paper. Because it's like I say, you're at home, you can wash. I could understand that you say, "Oh my God, milk is disappearing."
Yeah,
fuck, that's a problem. Bread is disappearing. That's a problem. But toilet paper, really?
Interesting. Yeah, this is very interesting. So this whole thing is a human study for me, you know. I'm looking and like, wow, I'm amazed, you know, I'm amazed. It's really, really something.
Yeah, whatever. So we have come to an end for today and for this interview. Would you like to add anything else, Sabine?
It was just such a pleasure talking, really. I thank you. I would love to thank you.
Oh, thank you. How about you, Mr. Sabine? Have you say something? Mr.
Thank you very much, baby, for really stay and accept it. Really, Sabine GRUDDA for me is not just my colleague, my wife, my partner. It's really my friend. She's the only one here. When I'm going in grown way, put me literally the guitar in my face.
He's going to ask.
No,
He's
literally.
going to ask you something later on.
You know, but it's okay because all this point, what she's sharing now, is she not speak for a speak. Really, is doing. She is a maker in this, and lucky. Yes, I am mega lucky. I feel lucky, and thank you for that. And really, for being in Hablando de Cultura, because you know what, Jazz, this woman, if she don't believe in this project, Hablando de Cultura, she never, for more, I am the husband or the couple, or she will say, you know, I don't know, I don't want, yeah, much better. But she really believe in this. Then if you are an artist there, over there, just write us. We make the interview with you. With the project,
but, hey guys, don't worry, because really Sabine, she was here because I was here and doing the interview with her.
You name it.
As I was saying, I think there's someone who's talking in the background. He's going to ask something from you. I mean, he's being so nice. This is just like a child, when, oh, mommy, she's beautiful, and mommy, she's this, and mommy, she's that. It's because the kid's going to ask something from mommy. This is the same thing. When a husband is so nice, it's because he's going to ask something later. You be ready. Paúl.
Life.
I am really make like this your husband, really.
Nah, okay, I'm just kidding. It is true. This is I love to collaborate with Paúl whenever I'm available, because I like that that Paúl doesn't only interview in Hablando de Cultura. Not only he interviews everyone who is part of culture, being poets, sculptors, dancers, singers, composers, musicians, photographers, painters. She is also a painter. We haven't talked about this. We'll speak about this another day. Many things that go through the interviews from Paúl and myself when I can chip in. So if any of you would want to be in Hablando de Cultura, just contact Paúl and we will arrange the interview. Lo mismo digo en español para que todo el mundo lo sepa, ya que estamos hablando en español. Pues eso, que nada, que es un placer poder colaborar con Paúl de vez en cuando. No os podéis perder los programas de Paúl porque son muy interesantes, se habla de todo y de todos lo que componemos, lo que es este gran mundo de la cultura, tanto nacional como internacional, autores, sean de música, sean novelistas, poetas, escultores, pintores, actores, directores, todo cuanto abarca este maravilloso mundo de la cultura. Y aquí tenemos a nuestro presentador preferido, que es Paúl Ponce, que es un mega crack en lo suyo. Todavía no lo sabemos qué es lo suyo, pero él es un mega crack. Estamos aprendiendo quién es, a conocer Paúl. Y nada, Sabine, it's been a pleasure having you this afternoon and sharing all your experience with us here in Hablando de Cultura by Paúl and Co., because I hope that Paúl will bring some other collaborators, so it's not just me. And letting us know a little bit more of you. Those who don't know you, well, they know you now. So, just imagine all these people who will be now visiting your social media just to see what type of work you do. And we wish to thank you all for being here this afternoon, not only this afternoon, but all Friday afternoons with Hablando de Cultura. And most of all, to thank you all for supporting art, supporting all of us, because as you all know, it's not a very easy job. And well, you could all say, well, yeah, we could work on something else. I mean, you could work in a supermarket, sure. But as human beings, we have the right to choose. And this is what we choose. So we are not asking for money. We're just asking for you guys to follow our work and to follow our professional lives and see what we do. And there is not a biggest satisfaction in a human being that to do what he or she wants to do with passion. And well, what else? Paul will write down all of Sabine's social media so you can follow her work. And well, there's really not much more to say, just to tell you guys that you have to be responsible and stay safe. And don't forget to wear your masks, because otherwise, I mean, this is going to be a never-ending story, and we have to get out of this, the sooner the better. And pues eso, lo que he dicho antes, que es un placer teneros aquí, teneros siempre aquí apoyándonos, apoyando la cultura, que es muy importante. Nosotros, a pesar de que es un trabajo muy difícil y con mucha competencia, es una pasión que tenemos y obviamente sí, podríamos trabajar, como dije en inglés, en un supermercado, pero tenemos el privilegio como seres humanos de poder elegir. Y elegimos. Y cada uno elegimos el trabajo que queremos hacer. Y eso yo considero que es muy respetable. Al igual que tan respetable es la persona que nos mantiene en las calles limpias, barriéndolas, y deberíamos de tenerle mucho respeto a esas personas y no tirar basura al suelo, porque ellos no están para limpiar nuestra basura, están para limpiar todo aquello que el viento sigilosamente trae a nuestros suelos, pero no nuestra basura. Con lo cual, todos nos merecemos respeto. Vivimos una situación bastante ambigua para todos y debemos respetarnos todos y ayudarnos en la medida de lo posible, en lo que podamos.
Muchísimas gracias por esas palabras.
Un besote grandote para Paúl, un besote enorme para Sabine, y nos vemos pues la semana que viene.
Nos vemos la semana que viene. Tenemos también otro artista y bueno, ahí estaremos en contacto con todos. Compartan este vídeo. Si es un artista, pues dáselo al artista y que nos contacte. Y bueno, pues hablando de cultura, by Paúl and CEO, ¿no? Corporación. Vale. Gracias, Jazz. And co. Thank you very much. Beautiful Sabine GRUDDA.
Thank you.
Okay.